versus film.
Hi, I'm Graham, this is Man v Film, and this is another Blu-ray pickup video. This is the things I've went out and actually spent my hard-earned money on. Money that I can't really afford to spend on movies, for movies that I may not have the time to actually watch, but I've got an addiction and I've bought them anyway. So let's go through them. One of the worst things I seem to have is blind buys. Movies that I don't really know much about, but yeah, I go out and spend my hard-earned money on it. I buy these things and don't know if they're really worth it or not. So this one that I purchased was a Xavier original, which means there's a 500 print limit of it. There's no more, and I had Charlotte copy in it. I had a nice premise, and I picked it up. That movie is Open Grave. Apparently Charlotte Copy wakes up in this ditch full of bodies, and he stumbles into some people. He needs to figure out, is he the murderer? Is one of them the murderer? What the hell happened? Sounds like my cup of tea, so I'm going to give it a shot. Another blind buy, but this one has more of an edge to it. It was produced by Eli Roth. It has Eli Roth in it, and it has a great premise. That movie is Aftershock. Aftershock is set around this group of tourists who are visiting Peru when an earthquake hits and decimates this asylum, releasing all the crazy people into the wild and causing sheer havoc. At least that's how it's sold to me. I can't wait to watch this because it sounds like my cup of tea. It sounds like a mix between Hostel and just complete chaos, which is always a good thing in my book. Back in 1998 there was two, not one, but two fantastic asteroid hitting the Earth movies. One was the popcorn munching Armageddon, which I love. I'm a huge fan of that. And the other one was the more character driven piece, which was Deep Impact. I've not seen Deep Impact in a good few years, and you know what, I want to revisit it. I remember enjoying it and Armageddon as well, and it was a shame these two movies were pitted against each other because they had a similar theme. They were both individual movies, and why did there have to be a winner? Why can't they both just win? Movie I watched in video on demand last year. It didn't come to a cinema near me. I didn't hear much about it, so I went in cold, and this movie just blew me away. So I'm going to suggest the same thing to you. If you haven't seen this, don't read anything about it. Get it as soon as you can and check it out. That movie is Cheap Thrills. I'm not going to say any more about it, just check it out. I was passing through a second-hand store and I happened to notice the Blu-ray, unopened Blu-ray for this movie called Cry Wolf. Now, I've seen Cry Wolf at some point in my life and I have absolutely no recollection of it, which is a strange thing because I tend to remember lots of things about movies, particularly plots. I can't remember a thing about this movie, but for some reason I seem to think that John Bon Jovi's in it. Sure, I could turn it around and check the credits, but I'm not even going to bother doing that. I will watch it though. I recently reviewed Chappie. I enjoyed Chappie. If you haven't seen my review, go and check it out, it's on my page. And you know what? I really liked District 9. Wasn't a great fan of Elysium, but I seen it and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. I enjoyed Chappie, I enjoyed District 9. Was it really as bad as it was in the cinema? I guess we'll find out soon enough. David Ayer released two movies last year. One of them was the action thriller Sabotage, which was horrible, had a couple of good action set pieces in it, but other than that, instantly forgettable. And the other one he released was one that had trailers that was uninspiring and didn't look that interesting to me at all. But I went and saw it because I go and see most things, and it was surprisingly really enjoyable. And that movie was Fury, starring Brad Pitt. This was a movie about a tank commander and a group of 5 guys that was single-handedly going to stop the war, so it seemed, but it was a really involving film and I enjoyed it, especially the set piece around the dinner table. You'll know when you get to it. It was just one of those off-kilter things that just kind of didn't fit with the movie but really stuck with the movie at the same time. If you haven't seen Fury, you should definitely check that one out. I remember when I was younger I would try to get in as different many genres of movie as I possibly could. Sooner or later you're going to stumble across trauma movies. In the early 90s you couldn't miss them, and there were some great ones and there were some very not so good ones at all. There was some complete rubbish out there, but you know, one that I remember loving, and I picked it up, and that was The Class in Newcomb High. I don't know if this thing's going to hold up, but it is a narrow release and those are always strong releases and it's full of extras, and I can't wait to sit down to see if it is as good as I remember. I really hope it is. If you've watched my Blu-ray videos, you know that I like to finish with whatever steelbooks I've picked up, but I have only picked up one steelbook recently, and I only picked it up because a friend managed to get it for me. This is the limited edition steelbook that he picked up at my shop, so shout out to Graham Duncan for picking it up for me. Thanks very much, man. And this movie was one of my favourites of last year, Nightcrawler, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, Gyllenhaal was robbed of the Oscar for Best Actor. He should at the very least get a nomination. His performance is fantastic, and when he's on screen, it's not Jake Gyllenhaal, it's Louis Bloom, and it is one of the most rounded characters I've seen in a long while. Gyllenhaal just completely disappears, and it's something for an actor who you know to do that. It's just unbelievable. And this guy's on a streak. He did Enemy, he did Prisoners, he's done, you know, Nightcrawler. I can't wait to see what he comes out with next. He's really trying to be one of the best actors of our generation. So that's what I picked up in Blu-ray so far in the past few weeks. What have you picked up? If there are any bargains that you I should know about, you need to let me know, because I love a good deal on Blu-rays, and I appreciate you for watching this. If you would just like to subscribe, click it, it's free. I would appreciate that as well. See you next time on Man v Film.